Well, I'm in sunny Penarth, although it's not very sunny today, it's a bit cold today, and I'm with Gabby Jackson, and we're going to talk a little bit about photography and what she does to earn a living as a photographer. And I suppose we better spin back and talk about why photography.
Where did it start? So at school I did art, and all my A-levels basically were all creative, so it was art, product design, and so my art teacher, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go from school, so my art teacher mentioned a foundation course, so I was like, oh, what's that? So he said you get to try 2 weeks of different subjects, and then sort of decide then what you want to do further on.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll apply for one of those, because everyone else was applying for. It was very much a big thing of what degree you go into. It was no other like options really. And when I was in school, it was like basically that was your option: school, university.
Yes.
So so I applied for this foundation course in University of Wales, Newport, as it was then, and just did 2 weeks of each subject, and then photography. I was like, oh, this is great. It was just I just thought that's the way of being able to do creativity and make money out of it, because the other ones just seemed, at that time it was more like fine art, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So it just seemed like the more commercial. I had my brother going, how are you going to make money out of art? I think my university fund was the conservatory instead. They were like, oh, you won't go to university because you're doing all, the arty subjects. So,
Okay, so you didn't want to be a poor artist living in a garage.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly, yeah. At that time, that was especially, I'm from Merthyr, so
Right,
at that time, that's the...
Okay, so... you then progressed, you decided to do photography. And so what was the course like?
So it was the second year of the course running. So it was called Photography for Fashion and Advertising.
Okay.
And it wasn't very good at all. So basically sometimes we were left without a lecturer. Towards the end, it was just me and the lecturer turning up to the lectures. It was great for me because it was like one-on-one learning.
Yeah.
But everyone had just sort of given up on literally the course itself, because it was kind of, just left. And then the lecturers we did have were more from like a photographic arts background. So, it wasn't the best.
Did you feel cheated?
Yeah. It was good in terms of the university had good facilities. So that was good in terms of, because a lot of the degree courses within the creative fields, most of the things you learn is from doing anyway. So having the facilities and the dark rooms, amazing. So the first year of the course, we were just told to use film. So you learn obviously how to actually take pictures properly. Yeah. The facilities and everything like that was amazing. But just the general actually learning how to be a photographer. And it was a commercial photography degree. So it wasn't like... I may as well have just done photographic art, because it was kind of like that.
Right, okay.
So,
So the jump then into the big wide world.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's a long time ago, I'm trying to remember. Right, so the last few months of the course, we were told by, I think it was a visiting lecturer, they were like, start kind of like getting your contacts up, and, because you're going to leave like soon.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it was one of the course leaders had reposted a job that was in the local area for a photography intern for a marketing company called TSO Creative, I think it was called. So I applied, got that job, and the main role there was taking pictures for a luxury furniture shop for their website, social media, marketing, newsletters, and then it was for lots of print as well.
So how was that experience? Because, okay, furniture, did you shoot furniture in uni at all?
No, not at all. So luckily they had because I didn't have any portfolio of furniture to show them. Most of what, it was meant to be the course, photography for fashion advertising. Mainly it was fashion photography based. If there was any lectures on, commercial photography, it was mainly fashion. So yeah, I had no portfolio of products or furniture at all. So luckily they did a test day. So we went down, and then a few photographers went down each different days, and then they judged us based on the pictures we made, which was lucky because normally it's what have you got in your portfolio. So yeah, I didn't have any product based pictures before, but that's when I sort of fell in love with that, because that's the first time I had done that, and it was the way of curating little sets. It was the first time I had done that sort of thing, rather than working with moving people and fabrics and I was there straight from uni. I think I was doing 2 at the same time for the last couple of months of the course, and then that progressed into basically a full-time job at the furniture shop. So that was also good, I think, for what I learned there in terms of running a business, because it was a small business. You got to do bits of everything, so it wasn't just, because a lot of being a photographer, commercially, the photography is less than half of the job, really. So that was quite good. So I was doing the photography and marketing, and also doing bits of customer service, and just general. You get to pick up things, because there was only 5 of us in the shop, so you got to pick up lots of different things, and it was a luxury furniture shop, so the service we were given was obviously high standard. So I think that's really, I've kept that and sort of tried to give that same level of service even now. So
did you seek any opportunities with other pro photographers at the time, or was that a bigger leap ahead?
Yeah, it was a few years later. So I was enjoying doing all the photography and the creative sides of that job, but I just wanted to do that full time, which obviously I couldn't do there. So I downed my days there, and then went round the other businesses in Abergavenny, and they worked freelance for them as a day photographer, doing the similar things, so doing the photography for their marketing and social media. And then through that, on a shoot with a milliner, she hired a art director on that shoot, who then knew Keith Davis. He was like, the art director, Jonathan Davis, could see what I was doing, and was like, oh, you're into photography, because I think my friend Keith is looking for an assistant at the moment, just the right place at the right time. And I was like, okay, and he said, meet up for a chat. And basically I assisted Keith at the studio, mostly on studio-based work for years then after. So it was like doing a master's, and you get paid for it as a job. So it was all the stuff I hadn't learnt at uni, I got to learn on the job.
Yes. What was your role as an assistant to Keith Davis?
I was useless at the start. It was stay over there and make the tea, because you don't break anything at the beginning. It ranged from, just you setting up shoots and making sure everyone was in the right place and getting fed and tea made for them, and yeah, just generally cleaning up after the shoot was over, packing away, setting up, carrying things around, just basically just being a second pair of hands whenever you needed.
And what did you pick up from that experience?
I think just everything that I've learned. He was so good at, if there was time on a shoot, of spending time teaching you why he's putting the light where he's doing it, what light he's using for what, just so, yeah, a lot basically, just everything. So
Right.
I've got the same lighting kit that I used there now, and yeah, just everything, just little tips, all the things he's learnt or picked up from the person he assisted for, or just passed down basically. So little things that, like the prop wax he used for the jewellery pictures.
Okay.
So just, yeah, literally the tools and the technique.
How long were you with him?
I think it was 3 or 4 years.
So when did you make the decision, I'm going to go on my own?
So it was kind of like a natural progression, in that when I first started, I'd only had my clients who that I was working on a freelance basis with it back in Abergavenny. So while assisting, because you don't do that every day, so I was literally sometimes working one day a month, or the next, it'd be like 3 or 4 times a month if you had a bigger shoot. Or so while I wasn't working assisting with Keith, I'd be trying to build up my own clients. Okay. So I'd be sitting there literally emailing everyone I could or wanted to work for. Do you need a photographer? Do you need photography? Anyone want photography? So yeah, do you want a free shoot so I could get a portfolio? Because obviously I needed more pictures of what I wanted to take. So yeah, I was doing that on the days that I wasn't working. And yeah, in the end then, because I was sharing the Keith's studio, in the end I was just taking up too many days, because I take more like social media based images, is a lot of quantity. So yeah, it was during lockdown then I thought I need my own space, so I'm not taking over your studio basically. Okay. You do need some of it
But
back.
taking on your own space has its own, it gives you the freedom to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But there's always there's the financial implication of doing it.
Yeah.
So how did you work that one out?
Yeah, it was not a good time really, because it was basically the pandemic, the lockdown. It was like March 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All my work got cancelled, as everyone's did, I suppose. And then I thought, oh gosh. So I moved out of the studio. I literally had to shoot, if there was any shoots coming through, while I was trying to find a studio space from my house. So I had little home studio set up for a bit in lockdown. Yeah, it was a risk, but because you had to sign a 3-year lease, and I thought, oh my gosh, will work come back? But if Keith taught me anything, it's like you got to just take risks. So do it, go for it.
And how important was getting post-pandemic? How important was it that you had your own space and your own studio space to get clients?
Yeah, I just wouldn't have been able to do as much, just run full time basically. I just needed all the days and like the space to store products, and my work is quite like prop heavy based as well, so I just needed all the storage basically as well. I couldn't wait to get out of the house for the few months I was there.
How did you find you said that you were emailing people. What did they want from you to understand what you were about?
The potential clients?
Yes.
So everyone wanted to see the almost proof that you could take their products basically and shoot them in the way they wanted. But it was very hard to do that when you hadn't done it before. Yes. See what I mean? So they would just be like, well, show me pictures of candles that you've done. And I'd be like, oh. So I did obviously lots of personal shoots then, which is a good way to do it. But it's so hard to do that when you don't have any money, because assistant role is not paying much. You can't get another full-time or part-time job, because then you're not free and available if any work does come in. So you just getting props that are just like food, or just, the cheapest things you can find, but it's not always the products that look
so
the
where
best.
did you get your inspiration? Because it's kind of still life stuff, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where did you draw your inspiration to for creating what you create?
I just love mostly like, it's probably just like nature, like the colours of nature. I love like authentic textures of like stones and greenery, plants. I'd say it's my work now, probably more. I've tried to more recently almost go back to the work that I actually want to create, rather than, because at the start you take a lot of work for money aspects, because after so many years of building up with no money, you're like, oh, someone wants to pay me to do this. And then the issue with that is sometimes the one style of work will snowball, and then I sort of become a photographer that did a lot of different styles, I feel.
Right, okay.
So I'm trying to narrow it down now.
So is word of mouth important when it comes to...
Yeah, that's probably how I've got most of my work, is recommendations.
Right.
But yes, because planting those first few seeds at the beginning is the hardest part. And then the waiting for them to naturally grow, because obviously not many people will recommend you just off the first shoot. But you've got to wait a few, and then you go, oh, but even at the beginning, I'd say, please, can you, like anyone else who needs pictures, and they all used to say, I don't want to tell anyone else in case they steal you from us. And I was like, but I need to stay alive. So, but now, lots of people have been, so kind. And with social media then, people have shared that if they've used me and stuff.
Yeah, so how much percentage of the work you do is purely for social media, Instagram and all that sort of stuff?
I'd say for just social media, probably like 70%.
Oh, that much?
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
Most people come back every month, and literally a lot of clients have been with me now for like, over 3 years, some of them like 6 years.
Yeah.
And they come every month for their social media content.
Right, okay.
And then I've got other businesses who, if they're smaller, they come for new product launches, so they'll do like their product photography.
And are you governed by art directors then, or are the companies totally dependent on your creativity?
That's a mixture as well. So some people have kind of the bigger the company, the more control they need and the more brand guidelines and rules. Sometimes it's like a 20-page PDF of like what ways you can't do this and that. Right. So the more people involved dictate how it needs to be done. But everyone then, the problem is with creative things is that everyone has a different opinion. It's not wrong or right. Yeah. So that's hard sometimes. But the smaller brands then kind of just basically just
allow you to do your own thing.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, so the social media stuff, it's gluttonous, isn't it? It wants content all the time. Yeah. And so how much do you vary the content then for a customer? Let's say if I came to you with a brand, what would you, with your expertise and with your knowledge of things like Instagram, what would you suggest to a client that would be good for a particular product?
So for like the each month's social media, most of the time the product is changing, or is like a new. It's hard to say because I photograph so many different things, but sometimes it's like a new fragrance or new. So just getting fresh images that is kind of like their standard for that new product.
Yeah.
And then also it's then just like seasonal trends. So like they want to incorporate obviously Christmas or Valentine's Day or Halloween or that type of thing, or even then just mimicking the lifestyle of that season the month ahead. Or sometimes we shoot things, again that varies, because sometimes I'm shooting Christmas in April for one brand, and then smaller brands I'll be shooting in November for so it does range. So yeah, I'd say like seasonal.
And do they measure your quality of your work by how many hits they get?
I never get to see the other side of it, so I don't know. One woman actually did say to me last week, I did all of her product photography, so she was doing it herself before, and she said the sales have increased by 60% in 3 weeks.
Good
so
gracious
just
me.
from taking the pictures.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
So, but I don't get to see. No, I don't get to see the difference it makes, because I'm never on the. So I should ask.
Stories and reels and all that sort of stuff is kind of very in vogue, and TikTok and all that sort of stuff. Are you going to get involved in that side of the?
Yeah, people do ask me if I do video a lot, but no, I'm trying to just stick to pictures. I think I'm gonna just stick to one thing, just try and do it properly. But I do make GIFs, so that's the way they can have, as part of their shoot, they can have so they can make a reel from series of still images then, which I can use all my lighting equipment and to shoot. So.
And so how much post work do you do on your pictures?
Yeah, it's so hard, because I try and keep the best quality I can with such quantity. So I divide the time that I book for the retouch. Normally it's exactly the same as the shooting time. I book again for the retouch.
Yes.
And then kind of, split it as much as I can between the images that I have.
Yes.
And do the best that I can do within the time. I always say, is there any more time we can, because what's frustrating is I then don't get many pictures that I feel I can use for my portfolio, because the standard I feel is not good enough. But from their point of view, they can't be spending that much money on something that they post every day.
Yeah.
So I do the best I can, basically.
What about print work then? Do some companies print your work?
Yeah, some of them make catalogues for trade shows. I can't keep track of it all, because there's literally must be so many pictures out there. But some magazine adverts and things.
What about your own personal portfolio then?
Yeah, so for years, so it's actually not that many. I always say it goes so quick, but not that many years that I've been actually earning a normal adult wage, basically. So every time I booked in a personal portfolio shoot, if someone asked for that and it was a paid shoot, I would be like, oh, okay, you can have it. So until basically this last year, when I've been able to keep those dates back, I haven't had a chance to build up much of a personal portfolio. So that's the aim now for going forward, is to stop saying yes to everything and build a niche of more of the style that I would want to attract.
The possibility of selling prints as well, because I've looked at your work. I mean, there's stuff there that could be easily hanging on a wall in a house in some way.
Do you think?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. From a sort of a technical point of view, it appears to me, I've never really done product photography. It seems like it's very precise work. Have you always been a precise person?
No, never. Honestly, I'd say it's really odd. In normal life, I'm probably the opposite. I think because I don't know if that's because I spend all day being precise, then my house style is probably different to my pictures and things. Nothing's as neat and perfect. I quite like the imperfection of things, and so no, the opposite.
What about going in other directions, like food, for example? Are you tempted to go down those routes or experiment in other areas other than just plain products like candles, etc., etc.?
Yeah. No, I like interiors probably more from the furniture shop, but I did have more of the interiors work. I've taken it off my website because in lockdown we weren't able to go, so I was getting more and more obviously product and still life because that's all we could shoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did used to do both, so I would like to, yeah, probably interiors more than
Interiors.
the food.
And when you look at an interior space, what comes to mind? I mean, it's the incidentals that make a difference, I guess, or am I making a huge assumption there?
No, just like the light and like shooting with natural light with the interiors, because I shoot with obviously all studio lights day to day. So when I go to interiors, just having a play with the natural light and just seeing how that works. Yeah, so
yeah. And what's your ambition?
make more work that I like. So that's have a bit more work that I can spend time on, because it gets so frustrating to me. Like I'm just like, oh, it could be so good, and then it's literally like next, all the time. I'm just like a little production line.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm aiming to do more. Still life work.
It's really kind of interesting, you see, for me, because a lot of Dutch painters, female painters, did a lot of still life. That's where they got their buzz from. Working as a female in is it a male-dominated business that you work in?
It was when I first started.
Right.
Yeah, but there seems to be the generation my generation and then generation after, there seems to be a trend of female photographers who are doing more like product lifestyle photography for small independents.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's come about, but yeah, I don't know many like male photographers who are doing the product lifestyle at a cheaper rate for those independents.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of flipped completely in the last 10 years, I guess.
So what have you learnt from your experiences so far?
Don't say yes to every job. It's so hard because you can't. I don't know if that's possible because you need to eat, so it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But so don't say yes to every project. Like if it doesn't fit with your work or what the work, because the problem is mine snowballed in a different direction because I said yes to that first job that I maybe thought, oh, that isn't my style.
Yeah.
Probably I'd say customer service is just as important as good pictures, because I got the same clients coming back. I mean, I hope I'm giving a good service. I must be, because they keep coming back. So, building those relationships, I think, is just as important as actually the pictures. It's the trust in you to do the job by a certain deadline so they can launch the product and start selling as soon as possible, and making sure that their brand image is consistent. So the customers, when they see those images, they know that's their brand, not you personally as a photographer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's always the vexed question of pricing things. How do you find that?
I'm not the best person to speak to with that, right? So I'd say don't start as low as I did, because you can't. It's so hard to climb back up from such a low rate. Basically, I don't know if Keith always used to say, "Stop being so Merthyr." I don't know if it's because I'm from Merthyr and it just seems like so much money, but it's don't undersell yourself, because it's very difficult to.
So have you developed a bit of a hard edge when it comes to pricing?
No. Slowly. I mean, I know when basically I booked a advice talk with a agent in London, just because I started working with bigger companies and thought, wait a minute, like, can you just tell me, like, give me some guidance on what I should be charging for this type of job, because it's not kind of readily available, that information. So it's really hard to just, work out, really. Yeah, that was really good in terms of giving you the confidence that you're like, okay, that's what I should be charging. That's kind of like industry standard. I'm still probably underneath that, but yeah, maybe I'll get that one day. Fingers crossed.
What about competition then? Other photographers working in the field?
Yeah, I've always tried to work with them. I think not work with them on jobs, but keep a good relationship with them, because I think there's more than enough work for everyone. So if I can't do it, I'll always recommend someone and say they'll do it. Or if I can't do a shoot and I'm the normal go-to photographer, I'll say, if you just say to them, this is the style, I know they can do it, you go to them. And they've done the same back. So yeah, I don't think, I don't ever see it as competing against them. I just see it, especially for Wales, I think it's so good to have that in Wales, because normally the work that I'm doing and other photographers in Wales doing, I just think when I was in uni, I didn't think that was possible. I think like the commercial work would stay in London, photographers.
So Keith was right then. You were thinking very Merthyr then.
Yeah. He always used to say, stop Merthyr. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming photographer thinking about going to uni to study commercial advertising photography?
I'd speak to someone maybe who's done that course, because I think some people have had really good experiences. I think, I think there are some good ones. London, Falmouth, I think is good for photography.
Yeah.
Speak to maybe some, but I don't even know if my course still exists, because it probably doesn't. I wouldn't have thought. But don't do the one I did. Speak to some, like a photographer who, and maybe see how many as well are still working in photography, because I don't think many from my course are. No. So
and that's quite sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It just didn't. They needed a few more years of building up a good team of lecturers that had a variety rather than just being one type of fashion.
Do you see yourself expanding as a business, because it is a business, and getting a bigger space and all that sort of stuff that goes out, an assistant maybe, is that?
Yeah, I did try to do that, and then I felt like I was becoming more of a manager, and all of my time was spent basically just listing things for people to do. And I wanted to be taking the pictures.
Yeah.
So I've gone the other way. I've put up my prices so that I can do everything, because people didn't even, my clients were like, I don't want anyone else touching my images. And I was like, I'm making sure I'm vetting everything after it comes back from them. I'm making sure but yeah, they like it. They like me to be doing everything. They like to speak to me.
Yes.
So I've put my prices to make sure I can survive.
I'll ask you an awkward question now.
Yeah.
Have you had any bad experiences?
With clients? Yeah. The ones that I have done for like cheaper rates or free, they've been some of the worst. Yeah. It's mad. Just the expectations that and I don't know, I felt like I was really clear of what I was doing before I was like, but just some
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm quite lucky. More like nearly all my clients now, because I know them. They come back every month. So yeah, it's a good relationship.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been.
What would be the
Been quite
ultimate
lucky.
goal? If you had, if you could pick a client that you could do stuff for, is there one that's sort of, I'd love to be able to do their stuff?
Yeah, I'd love to have like a still life homeware interiors feature in L Decoration. I've been subscribed to them for years since I was
Right.
younger. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just having it in print, because I see all of my work on social media a lot and
Yeah.
websites, but to hold it still for, I don't know, for any photographer it's probably the same, just to hold it in your hands so you print it out was
Yes.
yeah.
And do you print stuff at all? Do you print? You don't?
No.
Have you been tempted?
It's only literally in the last few months that I've even been able to take a picture that I'm happy with and to put on my website, because for years I've just been literally a hamster on a wheel trying to stay afloat.
Okay.
So yeah, I probably should now try. It wasn't since the Ffoton exhibition actually.
Right.
It's probably the last time I printed out
Yeah.
work,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think was like 6 years ago.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it goes so quick. But
Yeah.
yeah, I probably should, just to literally. It has a different.
Well, it's a different dynamic,
yeah.
isn't it? And there's
Has a
something
different
quite
feel.
sweet about that, really.
Yeah.
Lots of people think that because they have a fancy iPhone, that they can do their own product photography and stuff. What makes them come to you? What is specific and what makes the difference between their iPhone picture, which they've done with a cube or whatever,
Yeah.
What is the difference that you give?
I think it's the time aspect. They spend so much time setting up that setup at home or on their phone, and then they spend ages setting up each set. I'm literally doing it every single day, so I'm like the fastest photographer ever in terms of like them getting
and knowing what light can do.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If they're using natural light, it'll go up and down, it'll change. I got full control of the light. I can do the same setup when they come back a month later when they want to add the new products to their list.
So there's a consistency to the work then.
Yeah, and also when they start getting bigger as companies and they've got images, like they product stocked on different websites, they'll need like clipping paths and like PR images of things they need to send out who need better resolution to print with.
Yes.
So yeah, when they start, those things get fired and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't understand what this is. Can you just sort it out?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
From a client point of view, how do you work with? I mean, I presume that clients come here. What if they don't come here? What's the crack then? How does that work?
Most of my work is actually remote, so I get a few businesses that are based in Wales who come to the shoot. I also get people travelling for 4 hours to come if they're the designer and they need to be on set to actually construct the product.
Right.
That's for a party decoration company I'm thinking of. But yeah, so most of my work then is remote. So I'll send images through from the set and then they can see live if they need any changes. And then, so...
What's the difference between markets in Wales or companies in Wales coming to you and companies in London? What's the difference in scale and in costs?
Yes, the scale is much bigger. Obviously, the companies who are based in London, like I'll shoot the global content for Tangle Teaser, who are based, the main headquarters is in London, but I'll be shooting for their global social media. So we'll do Japan, Brazil, Chile, from Penarth.
I'm from Merthyr.
From Merthyr. But yeah, and then the Welsh businesses. There are some amazing, still larger businesses that I work with, beauty brands based in Wales, and I also work for independents as well, based in England. So it's a mixture really, and then sometimes the larger brands from London, they will come to Penarth and they'll stay in a hotel and they'll have a nice week of it so it's good to bring people to Wales as well.
Absolutely.
And they really enjoy it.
Yeah. And your studio's in a nice place.
They love to see the boats, and it's nice break from London for them especially. So
of course.
Just gaining that trust to get them to come to Wales at the beginning was, I couldn't even get someone from Bristol at the beginning because I didn't have the portfolio and the client base. They were like, oh no, there's photographers here, it's okay.
I don't know if you answered the previous question I asked. I was asking you, who would be the ultimate client for you? If you could pick from any of the clients in the world, what client would you love to work for?
It's hard. Weirdly, even getting the larger companies, sometimes, because I'm shooting remote, it doesn't actually feel any different.
Right, okay.
Because I'm not leaving the studio, it's the same. It doesn't make much of a difference apart from just at the beginning when you just like, I nearly fell off my chair when Lint emailed. I rang my mother. I said, I'm being scammed, I think, but I'm just going to email back to see if they want a photographer. I don't know why they're coming to me, but I think it's a scam, but we'll go with it, you know.
But you've got the gig.
Free chocolate, honestly. So my family are happy with that. Any interior, still life, that type of homeware, those are dream clients. Anything probably I would buy myself.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm the consumer, so I'd be able to do, the job.
So,
a better job.
okay, go spin back a little bit more. Last question.
Okay.
You did art in school.
Yeah.
So, were you doing still lifes then?
Yeah, but with oil paint. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still paint?
No, I know. I still got all of the, all the palette knives and paints.
Right.
But just never have time now. It's literally, I think the photography, just being a freelancer, it just takes over your entire life, and it is kind of a hobby as well as work, which it kind of mixes in. But I always say I need to. I did one painting in lockdown because I didn't have any work. Weirdly, as a young, like a child, I had 2 shelves in my room, and I would literally curate, and dolls' houses, anything to like curate little. So basically I was doing it then, but all I'm doing with photography is just documenting it at the end. So been practicing since forever.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Curating.
Thank you for the conversation.
No, thank you.